Hi, I'm Sarah Bunwell, the editor of fundoperator.com. I'm here with Karen Wawrzaszek, Chair Investment Committee at the Meyer Foundation and also the Regional President, BNY Mellon Wealth Management. Karen is speaking at our Institutional ESG Summit North America, and ahead of that, we just wanted to catch up with her to get a little bit of a flavor of what she's going to be talking about. Hi, Karen.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Thanks for coming. So my first question is, why do you think it's so important for the industry to establish ESG standards?
Well, the number one reason is it helps to kind of demystify the purpose capital and the impact that people are expecting to have. If we can arrive at a common set of metrics and understand that the outcomes are exactly the outcomes we're trying to achieve, then we can actually invite more buyers into the room that are trying to move their capital in a purposeful way. So from my perspective, it really is to arrive at one language so that we actually move the field in a variety of themes, ESG themes, in the direction that we all are trying to achieve.
That makes perfect sense to me. And what sort of steps are you seeing institutional investors taking today to try and sort of work together and bring about that uniformity around standards and benchmarking?
Oh, I will say it's been an exciting past 18 months, a year and a half. The seat that I sit in, which is a couple of different roles, as you mentioned at the top of this conversation, is that on the institutional and the endowment side, we're actually inviting more collaboration to kind of pick apart what the mission of those organizations are, and are we actually aligning the investment capital to kind of the outflows or the grant-making capital. And instead of kind of operating in a silo with each of those buckets, we're actually inviting consultants and other thinkers into that conversation to help understand what we're evaluating and where we are invested in things that maybe aren't doing what we expect them to be doing for our mission. And that's been a sea change in the past 18 months. Like I said, a little bit of the pandemic around the world and impacting each of our geographies. You and I sit in different geographies, impacting us very differently, depending on the wealth of the nations, right? And our role in that with purpose capital. So I think that is helping everybody kind of think about, wow, what am I contributing to?
That makes sense. And how far away do you think we are on this? How far are we from a set of universal industry-wide standards?
Oh gosh, I think we've progress with organizations, like the UN's Principles for Responsible Investment Act and impact measures, also SASB, and other organizations and players kind of coming to the room to define it. I would say third inning, right? So if you kind of use the baseball analogy, I think we're early, but not at the start, simply because we have more actors willing to contribute some thinking to it, which is different. When I started out in this work, more than 15 years ago on the ESG side, you didn't have any, you had negative screening, and that was your measure, that it just wasn't, it was detracting from impact. So you just took it out. That was your only real measure. Now you have actually so many, and it's a matter of that common language now that we can all agree on, and also broken down by industry. Each industry, so if we can agree on a set of measures that are relevant for each particular industry, then we've made a lot of progress. And I think we're third inning in that work. But it's moving faster than it has in the past 15 to 20 years.
That sounds like good news. I mean, so it's good that we're making progress, but I think it's fair to say that we're not quite there yet. In the absence of that kind of industry-wide consensus, how can institutional investors meaningfully compare different ESG products and different, et cetera?
I think if we can all kind of check our egos in needing to be the creator of the benchmarks, and actually, because we're by needing to be the creator, we're reinventing a lot of wheels that are out there. Instead of agreeing that, okay, let's try to think about some economies of scale and what we can agree on, and start with those set of measures. We don't need 50. I was giving a talk earlier this week and talked about, every passing month, we're seeing a heightened awareness of another ESG measure. And we're piling on rather than thinking about, okay, what's the bell curve look like? What are those common set? Because then it starts to look like the US tax code where we're piling on, right? And so to me, it's like, if we can really not need to own the invention of it, each of us as institutions, and agree that in the marketplace, this is what the stakeholders and the buyers need to see, that's more common than we, the originators, believe it to be.
Great, thank you so much. It's been great talking to you, and we can't wait to hear more from you at the conference.
Thank you very much. I look forward to it.